20 years ago, a seed was planted and cared for. We painstakingly nurtured it and weathered it against adversity until one day it blossomed and the fruits of our labor began to show. Today, millions have learned, shared, and been inspired by what our community has produced. We proudly served 21 million users from 204 countries in 2019. For our 85,000 technical articles, code samples, and videos, our 450,000 forum questions, and our highly anticipated conferences and events featuring keynote panels, live streams, and industry experts and influencers, we recognize and reward members for their dedication to the community. Through content contributions and mentorships, we ranked number 2,620 in the world with a reach of millions across our social media channels. Thanks to you, our global community of software and data developers grows stronger each day. For more information, visit us at csharpcorner.com.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Growth Mindset Show. This is Mahesh Chand. I'm the host of this show. It's a Friday morning. I'm still settling in, a little late today. Everybody, welcome to the show. This is Growth Mindset Show. Today we have awesome guest, David. David is, I'm sure you already know, he is a veteran tech leader, inventor. He's an author, speaker, trainer, MVP several times, Microsoft MVP, international speaker, and a lot more. So we will bring David in a little bit. So if you are joining us first time, welcome to the show. If you are joining us back, welcome back to the show. As some of you may already know, this show is for you. We love all the questions. If you have any questions, comments, chime in. Today we are going to talk about community and how communities like C# Corner or other communities, it doesn't matter what community you are, and how they help in your professional career. Either it's finding a new job or growing as a leader or learning something. That's what we are going to talk about. So if you have any story to share, you think community has helped you a lot, please feel free to share. If you want to come in behind the scene in the show a little later in the tail end of the show, we can bring you in as well. So yeah, feel free to start sharing your comments about communities, how community has helped you grow in your professional life or even personal life. And if you have questions, definitely post your questions. So today, all we are going to talk about is community and community only. All right, let's bring in our guest here, David.
Hey, everybody.
Good morning.
How's it going?
All right. I like your background. I know it's a 20th year anniversary of .NET. You want to talk a little bit about that, and you want to tell people about who you are. I know most of them already know.
Yeah, I think most people do. I'm David McCarter, .NET Dave, and yeah, I've been coding with .NET for 21 years now, and I was in production with .NET with Beta 1,
nice.
which was a bit scary, and that's detailed on my not the article that came out today on C# Corner, but the one before, and yeah, I've been a software engineer for almost 30 years, and run .NETtips.com and write books, and I think most of you know what I do.
Yeah. So welcome, Mo, Jitendra, welcome to the show. Sagar, welcome back to the show. Bassam, Venkat, all of you guys, thank you for joining us today. Today is a special episode.
Yep.
Yeah, Bassam is great. Yeah, I saw his latest articles. All these guys doing great. This is great to have you guys here again. Today's all we are going to talk about is just about the community and community, how it has helped you, me, and all of us in professional lives. Anup, welcome to the show. I see Anup on the Twitter a lot, so thank you so much for joining us. Feel free to share your comments and your questions. All right, so David, let's start with this. I want to start with something. What is a community? And I have my own way of explaining a community, right? So let's start with it. What's the definition of community? When people say this is a community, what does that really mean?
Well, I think community can mean a lot of things, kind of like what you were saying, but for me, I can talk about how I got started. And, I started in community basically the same year I became a full-time software engineer. And the way that I started joining the community was I, along with about 4 other people, started the Visual Basic user group here in San Diego, which then transferred into being the San Diego .NET Developers Group. And I ran that for 20 years. And so I've been involved in community ever since I started coding. And I know we'll talk about it during the show, but, that experience led to, speaking at conferences, coming to India. I can trace many jobs came from the user group. I would say the majority of the jobs I have came from participating in the user group here in San Diego. And everything else I can trace, Simon can put the link to the article up there. But I wrote an article just about how speaking and community has helped my career, since I started. And I don't think I'd be where I am if it wasn't for community.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, and I can, relate to the same thing. When I start writing articles on C# Corner, people start contacting me about the projects, and that's how I got my projects, right? I didn't go and sell. I didn't put my resume out there. I didn't apply for anything. People just start asking you for the projects, and once they start asking you the project, that means you are growing professionally, right? If clients coming to you and saying, hey, can you help us do the work, that's probably the biggest advantage as a professionals to us.
Yeah. And for example, the contract I'm working on right now, which this is the 3rd time I've worked with this consulting company. The reason, I have this 3rd contract with this company is because the guy who runs the company, I don't know how many years ago now, came to SQL Saturday. And I was speaking at SQL Saturday, and he was so impressed with my talk, whatever I was talking about, I don't even remember. And he contacted me, and like I said, this is the 3rd contract with the same company, just because he saw me speak, at SQL Saturday, which is a community-run event. If no one's heard about it. Yeah.
Great. So Ashirwad, welcome to the show. Rohit, welcome to the show. Again, guys, this show is for you. Today we are talking about community and how communities can help you or anybody else to grow in professional life, and also some personal life. I'm gonna pick up on some our personal growth as well from the community. But again, anybody has questions or you want to share your experience with the community and your growth story, we would love to highlight you here in this show. So David, so we started similar way, we start writing code, we start sharing that, we start speaking. And then, you became Microsoft MVP, I became Microsoft MVP. So let's spend a minute on that, how being a Microsoft MVP helped you either personally and professionally.
Professionally, the Microsoft, this is the 16th year I've been a Microsoft MVP, I think. And we're going through the evaluation period right now. So hopefully I'll be re-awarded in June, I think. And, when I was asked to do it, I didn't really know a lot about the MVP program. And because I was nominated to be an MVP, I didn't really ask to be one. Somebody at Microsoft nominated me, and then I went through the process. But for me, one of the things I like the best about the MVP program, and it's not the free software we get and all that stuff, is that I have a real impact on the products at Microsoft, meaning Visual Studio, .NET, things like that. And there are features in Visual Studio that are my idea, and not a lot of software engineers can say that, right? And it's only because I still remember the year that 2 features of Visual Studio were my idea, because I flashed them on the screen at the end of the MVP summit, right? But one of the things I'd like to do is I'd like to make whatever I'm using better, the product better, right? Or the experience better. And so being in an MVP program really allows me to do that, right? Yeah. And the other thing I feel is my duty as an MVP, and I don't know if the other MVPs feel like this, but I kind of feel that I kind of represent the normal, everyday, in the trenches developer from Southern California, right? So every year when I go to the summit, which hopefully next year we'll actually have a real summit, I bring the pain that the Southern California developers are experiencing to try to make Visual Studio .NET better, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And also on another side is, because I'm an MVP, for companies who understand what the MVP program is, that really helps when I'm looking for a job. That, unfortunately, not enough companies know what that is, really. But I also get to use the logo on my books to help me sell books. I put the logo on, I had to officially, legally be able to use the logo. And so I put it on my books, I put it on my resume, I'll put it on my website, and that helps, lend credibility to myself, to sell books and for people to go to my website. So there's, I just want to say this real quick. Right now, I'm going back and forth with the 2 people who run the program in North America. And I'm trying to get them to come on my show, because I want to talk about the MVP program and, not only what it is, but how do you become an MVP?
Yeah, that's a big question a lot of people ask, right? So how do you become Microsoft MVP? Right. And quickly we can spend on saying you become MVP by sharing your expertise to the community,
right?
And without gaining any profit from it. That's the difference, right? You cannot write a book and sell it and say, oh, I'm helping community. That does not count.
No.
You cannot be at your job building cool products and teaching your company. That does not count as a community work. So that's the difference.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So MVP is all about community. Not only are you an expert in your field, but you also participate in community, and whatever community that is. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like to get in front of people and speak. So, another way, for example, if Microsoft thinks you're part of community, is if you participate in Stack Overflow and, programs like that, where you're just helping people, with their questions. That's part of community too, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's like you said, you're giving your free time, right?
Yes.
And I, you and I, give a lot of our free time, back to the community.
Yeah.
The majority of my time is basically that.
Yeah. Same thing with me. Yeah. So welcome, Anil. Welcome to the show. Rijwan joining us from, I would say, Bangladesh. Welcome to the show. Ashirwad said community has helped him a lot. He got even landed a job at Microsoft because of his community work. So congratulations, Ashirwad. Great. Satya, welcome to the show. I know Satya got a job because of her community work. And Mo says C# Corner is a great community, no doubt. I use it mostly solve questions, ask forum questions while solving problems. I have built my own problem solving skills. That's awesome. Sachin. Sachin is very active in on forums, and I can see that he really solves problems and he gets deep into that.
I'd also like to point out really quick, because I do look for a job more often than a lot of people, because I do contracting.
Yeah.
And, my big advice to you is, if you, and this has happened to me many times, and because I'm .NET Dave, right? And, some companies look at all the work I do in the community and they go, we don't know if we want to hire you, because, you're not going to be working, you're going to be working on community. And so, which is not true, but I like to say that make sure if you're part of the community, right, and you're looking for a new position at a company, make sure that company embraces that kind of learning, right? Because that means that company wants you to learn, and they're going to be behind you, going to these events and things like that. And if a company feels that your work in community is a deterrent, run away.
Yeah, 100%. Then your growth, you will stuck in a hole.
Yes.
And you will not be happy. So I agree with that. If you are a community person, you love to share with the community and teach other people. And if company says, oh, we don't want to hire you because of community work, that means that company is probably people who are running those projects or companies are very close, narrow-minded people.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yeah. I'll give you a quick example, but just because I've never heard this before, it really boggles my mind. But last Saturday I had the 20th anniversary of .NET show on Rockin' the Code World, right?
Yeah.
And I asked my boss at my contract, I wanted to post, in the team chat, a link to the talk. I mean, to my episode, right?
Yeah.
And because there's, this company has lots of .NET developers, and I thought this would be a good thing for them. And I asked if I could post that in the team chat, and they said no. They said it's advertising. I'm going, what?
Well, I wouldn't. Hopefully,
it's only advertising if I'm making money. I don't make money on my show.
Hopefully, your boss is not watching this.
They're not behind this, so of course they're not watching. Right?
Yeah. So, one company I was talking to. This is funny. I went there and I'm like, hey, we do these user groups and events and all that, where I think your developer can take advantage and learn from it. Why don't you ask a developer to join? He's like, well, not really, because when they learn, they leave us. Well, a lot of companies think that way, and to me, that's not a good way to grow a company. I mean, you can keep it the way it is, but anyway, let's go back to Wang. Yeah.
Then their software will be stuck in a rut, and they're going to be in problems, just
in
like
long run. In long run, they will have a lot of problems. So, Venkat, thank you for the comments. Ashirwad, yes. Thank you. Keep comments coming, guys. Keep the conversation going on, because what happens when you guys post these comments, guys and girls post these comments, it feels like somebody's watching us. We are not just talking to ourselves.
To ourselves. I miss chatting with you. We could just chat of whatever,
Yeah. So we can definitely chat. No, I have a bunch of questions lined up. So we just talked about how community can help, professionally. But to me, I have a lot more personal friends now because of Microsoft MVP program. That's when I met you. That's when I met David. I mean, Magnus, Alan. Mm-hmm. There's so many other people I met. And today we are almost like a best friends, right? We hang out. To me, and this is not just the professional part. Personally, community has also helped me. So you want to talk a little bit more on how being involved in community helped you personally?
Yeah, and it's in my article that Simon put up in the chat. And so, all of my close friends came from the community here in San Diego. Every single one. All of my best friends are software engineers, and all of them came from the user group. Every single one came from the user group, and we met. Some of them helped me with the user group, some didn't, but I've been longtime friends ever since I met these people, and now we, one of my friends I go jam with because he has a band here in San Diego, and the other thing that I mentioned in the article is that, those group of friends that I built because of community has helped me in other ways. Like, for example, when I had, to go to the emergency room, my geek friends came and rallied and came and make sure there was somebody by my side the whole time, because I don't have any family here. Whenever I need surgery, my geek friends drive me to and from surgery. I can go on and on and on, but
no, that's good. So again, the community is not just professional, but also personally you become friends. And so now let's talk about some of the things, communities, a lot of guys, they want to run their own communities, and the last 2 years have been really big challenges of being a part of the community, because, back in the days, We go to local user group, we attend the event, we
Mhm.
go speak there, we go to conferences, speak there. But what is your recommendation now to people who are stuck at home and there's not too many conferences happening actually to even attend
Yeah.
in person, or and I know you tweet all the time, you want to go talk in person, but what's your recommendation if somebody wants to get involved in community?
Well, you know, during COVID, we've all had a difficult time, not only working, but, for those of us who participate in community, I, for example, have had a hard time not going and speaking and seeing people in the community. So during COVID, I've turned to more virtual things like, running conferences for you guys or participating in virtual conferences, right? Um, I was really happy when you came to me with the idea for Rock in the Code World, right? That was your idea, and I never told you, but that really kind of saved me, right?
Yeah,
Because
you are
because
busy.
well, I didn't have an outlet for community, right? And so
Yeah,
the Rock in the Code World allows me to do that every week, right? And participate in the community by hosting a show, right?
yeah,
So there's lots of other things you could do. You can do virtual stuff. You can participate in chat. You can and I would say most of the user groups that I'm aware of still hold meetings, but they're virtual. So you can
yeah,
still attend those. You can still ask questions. I know it's not the same that if you're in person, but I think the community has done the best they can under the circumstances. So
yeah. So everybody who's watching, one thing I want to start here is that C Sharp Corner as a community, we don't kind of manage things, force things, plan things. It is all, a lot of this come from the community, right? For
mhm.
example, your show idea came from you and I said, yeah, let's do it. So that's what I want to explain here, is that anybody has an idea and they want to bring it to the community, and if it's doable, obviously within our resource limitations,
Mhm.
I think we will do that. And
Yeah.
I'm always open to different ideas, try new things and fail. That's one thing never stopped me, is thinking, oh, we're going to fail in this, right?
Mhm.
We tried a million things and most of them fail.
Yeah.
But to me, I think trying new ideas is always a good thing. It's a challenge, it's fun, and it's interesting. And if it becomes successful, I think your show is one of the one that became really successful
Yeah.
and is still going strong. And I think
Mhm.
it's getting more reputation now, uh, more than any other shows on this. We try different shows, right? Uh,
Because I'm done at
so
Dave.
yeah, because you build your own brand behind it, and you put your work behind it. It's a lot of work, right? It's not
Yeah.
just easy as doing it. But
But
everybody who's listening, if you have some ideas, you want to bring it to the community, and it's doable, we will do that.
right. And one thing I'd also like to point out is I've during my career, I've interviewed hundreds of software engineers, and I even wrote a book about surviving the technical interview. And I talk about this in the book, and I've talked about this, when I've come to India. And the last question I usually ask every candidate is this, and that is, how do you keep up with technology, right?
Yeah,
Because we all know this world changes every single day, right? And I only want to hire people who want to learn,
right.
right? And so um, the last question is that, and if they don't have a good answer, I pretty much won't hire them, right?
Okay, there you go.
But but on the other side, I've hired people. I've given extra points to people because they came to user group meetings, and because I know they want to grow and learn in their career. I want to hire those people, even if they don't have all the technical skills that I want. I
Yeah.
know I can teach them because they are constantly learning just like I do.
Yep. So that's great. I agree with that. And one of the thing I want to go back to, we talked about what is a community, right? It's community. Let me start with that. I'm gonna re-emphasize on the word, is community is where it's a group of people come together to do certain things that does not include personal gain and benefits.
Right.
And as a community, this is our job to always think about our members and how we are helping them benefit from it. So
Mhm.
Like every day, there's no day where I don't think like, what else can we do better for our MVPs, our members? What features can we launch?
Hmm.
So that goes like a lot of time I spend, and it's not that I think like I'm spending a time, because I like it. So I'm always thinking like how we can make these shows, David, get more traffic. So
Hmm.
you don't really need to ask. I may be asking Simon, hey, how can we promote these shows more? How do we get more traffic?
Right.
Um, so anyway, that said, let's go back to our rest of the questions. One thing, okay, so let's take a couple of comments. Venkat is post a couple of nice comments. Thank you, Venkat. We agree with you. These are more like his comments about that. And Anil, welcome to the show. I agree. That software development is a lot of is like a repetitive duplicate work, right? We
Hmm.
all doing same thing. If it's a login control, a lot of everybody needs a login control. If
Hmm.
it's a calendar, everybody needs a calendar. There you go. So by
Right.
sharing our code and our open source projects helps everybody save time.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to rewrite the code. I agree with that.
Yeah.
uh, One thing I want to now talk to about, Dave, is that over your career of this community work of 23 years, 24 years, same thing with me, what I've seen is a lot of guys, when they are young, they join communities.
Hmm.
They're very excited, and I see like, I like this guy is going to be something big, because the way he's energy, the passion, the contributions they do in community. So
Hmm.
what happens once they get a good job, they
Hmm.
stop.
Hmm.
So like they don't realize that their potential is to reach the skies, but as soon as they reach onto one of the mountains, they feel like they achieved the world and they stop. What's your thought on that? Because if you ask me, if those people continue working as a community, they could have been really, I mean, being popular in tech world itself is a success, because then business comes to you, partnership comes to you, growth
Hmm.
opportunities, big companies will come to you. And if you start your own company, you already have people lined up working with you.
Hmm.
So what's your thought on that? Like, what's your advice to the young guys who first start with a full, it's not a race, like they run and then they stop.
Well, to me, the way you describe it is basically, these people, basically reach a plateau, right? And once you reach a plateau, there's another one coming, right? you know, this because of the way software engineering is, right? Is like I said, it's constantly changing, and so there's always plateaus, and I feel this in my career. I reach a plateau and I go, okay, what's the next one I have to start working on? How do I reinvent myself in my career, because things are changing since the past 5 years, right?
Yep.
I mean, if you look at software engineering when I started, you know the the number of platforms you could actually code for was very small,
Yeah.
right?
So
We
Turbo
only
Pascal, C++, VC++, and VB.
Well, we only had basically Windows, Mac, and I wrote some programs for the compact framework for mobile devices, right? But and the web, but
Yeah.
that's basically all we had, right? And
Yep.
look at software engineering today.
Yeah.
It is insane.
Yeah.
You have all that, you have IoT, you have AI, you have machine learning, you have the cloud, and if you reach one plateau back 15 years ago, that's where you'll be stuck,
Yeah.
right? And for me, that would be really boring. I mean, some people like it, but I don't like it. And
Yeah.
as far as your career growth, you're going to be stuck,
Yeah. Yeah. And
right?
then people complain. There's a lot of complaint I hear is that, oh, I don't like my boss. I'm stuck in this company. I don't, to me, I mean, I understand that company has its own problems,
Hmm.
but the things you cannot control, it doesn't make sense to complain about it.
Right.
If you really don't like your company or your project or your boss, there's so many opportunities out there. You have to the one who take the step outside, take the
Yes.
risk, and have the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to find a better job.
Yeah.
Right.
I,
So
I I did a survey once and I asked
yeah.
people, how long do you typically stay in positions? And the answer was 2 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the way it is for me, right? My average is about 2 years. And the max I've ever stayed at a company was 4.5 years, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not telling everybody to keep moving around. If you're
No,
happy
no,
work,
that's not good either. If jumping every 6 months is not, if you like your job, you enjoying it, you like people you work with, there is no reason to leave,
right?
right?
But but the reason a lot of us do leave after 2 to 5 years is because this example basically, you're hired to write this program, and so you release version 1 or 1 or 2, and then you're basically stuck in maintenance mode, right? And your knowledge stops,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And if you want to grow in your career like I am, then this is not good for you. And so once that happens, a lot of us leave and go, okay, well, I did that. What's the next opportunity I can go to and learn and grow, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
not going to learn and grow here anymore, right?
Yeah, and the biggest advice to young people watching this show, which everybody's younger than us, I'm sure. uh, Even though you're so busy in life, sure, you're gonna get job, you're gonna get better position, you're gonna get married, you're gonna have kids. Don't give up. Still a little bit contributions continue, so you are still in the habit of being a part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
And in long run, people won't forget you. And that's the key, right? There may be a guy with you reading your articles today. He may be a CEO of Microsoft in future.
Mm-hmm.
It happens.
Right.
In our lifetime, it has happened many times.
Yes.
I know people, they were reading my articles in Silverlight, and they built their own companies, and now they're running $100 million companies.
Well, that's,
and they still remember that. Yeah.
And, I don't get this as much as I did when I, started in this career, but, my work in the community and writing articles and things like that, and I'm talking back in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Is how, publishing companies contacted me. I never contacted a publishing company to write a book ever.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's talk about
they
the book.
Always contact me. Right.
Yeah. Let's talk about the first book. Let's talk about first book, right? So I wrote my first article on ADO.NET on C# Corner in either February or March of 2000, February,
Mm-hmm.
March. I got a message from A Press like, hey, we saw your article on ADO.NET. Can you write a book for us?
A Press contacted me too.
Yeah, and I'm like, I have 1 year experience programming, okay? And I was like, me, your book? What are you talking about? You think I'm like a genius writer?
Yeah.
And that's it. That was the story, right? Once I wrote the book, then I wrote many books, a few other books, and then it's the end of the story. Then everybody wants to come and speak, they're contacting you and job and so forth. So A Press picked you up too? Oh, your sound is mute now. You're mute.
They're cutting my grass outside, and Simon muted me. Yeah, A Press was the second book, and I still remember I was at a VBIDS conference, and it was right after A Press started, right?
Yeah.
And the two guys who started, A Press was Gary and Dan Appleman, right?
Yes.
And I can still picture Dan Appleman asking if I could write a book for A Press, right?
Yeah.
And we were standing in the halls at a VS Live conference up in San Francisco. And that's how that happened. He came to me and asked me to write a book for them. Right.
Yeah. So this book was published in 2001 and 2002, updated in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
You can see really.
Your blur thing is blurring it.
Oh, my blur thing. Let me
put it in front of your face. There you go. No. It's a little bit better. Yeah, don't show it. Your blur thing blurs it out.
Yep. So anyway, the point I'm making is that as a young guy, you should not give up on community. Just continue to be a part of it, even though it's not a lot, depending on your time. Just be there. So anybody has any questions, we can take a couple of questions now. We have 6 more minutes to hang out here. We kind of passed our time. But if you have any questions, guys, feel free to ask now. But I like a lot of comments coming from Rijwan and Sachin and Mo, whatever. Yeah, Mo, I would say change your names because you always want to put your name out there, your identity out there, so people know who you are, unless you're trying to hide something.
Unless you're a hacker, right?
Yeah, so because a lot of people these days using these emojis and whatever, I'm not a big fan of that.
Me neither. Or fake pictures.
Fake
Or
pictures
yeah.
and somebody, yeah, exactly.
Like on LinkedIn, if you don't have a picture on LinkedIn, I'm not going to accept you. Sorry.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. What's the point otherwise? Yeah. So anything else you want to add about the community and with the C# corner? I don't know if you, we can talk a little more actually on that. So Simon, we have a couple of conferences coming up. There's one conference coming next month, which is on leadership. I am speaking there. But Simon can post a link there. So leadership conference. So this conference is all about how to become a leader. It's not about coding. It's not technical. It's all about leadership. So check it out if you think you want to learn some leadership. I'm speaking there. I will talk about the key traits of leaders, and what they do and why they do, and all those good stuff. I have not prepped my talk yet, but that will be my topic.
Yeah.
And then we have I think we should talk about this, that we need to do a C# corner in-person conference. I think things are getting better in COVID. So
yes.
Simon, maybe you can jump in. We should plan it out here. I think in the next 5, we have 4 more minutes to go. So let's do this C# corner conference in India. Obviously, we can only do in India because, hey, what's going on? So you want to talk about Nepal? You're doing a conference in Nepal now?
Yeah, exactly. I'm really excited to do one event in there. It's going to be a hybrid one. It's on April 16th, top of the world in the mountains. I'm really excited for it. I wish you both were here.
Yeah, I want to come.
It's in April?
Yeah, it's in April 16th.
There is enough time.
Yeah.
Well, someone's got to pay for my ticket, so.
David, if you wanna go, we can arrange that, David.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's
I
think about it.
I miss all my followers in India. I have a special connection to India that I think you all know I really love, and because I find the Indian developers very warm and welcoming, and they always want to take pictures with me, and it's not like in America, it's very different in India, but I like it,
Yeah.
But the one thing I want to say before we run out of time is, community means a lot of things, and it doesn't necessarily mean speaking, right? I know I speak all the time, but you don't have to speak to be part of the community, right? You can help with user groups, you can help with conferences, you can participate in chat rooms, you can write articles. There's lots of things you can do if you're just too shy to get in front of people, because I know a lot of software developers are. So I just want to point that out really quick.
Yeah, that's great. So we have 2 more minutes, but I want to let everybody know that yes, we're going to actually, COVID is going down. I see good news from all around the globe, and I'm sure Simon, same thing in India as well. To me, even these days, COVID is you just wear mask, it's fine.
Yeah.
So we can let's do the event in India. We're going to start planning, and then we'll plan our trips. That's what I'm thinking.
Are you going to have me play guitar again?
It's not me. You just come up with the ideas.
That was your idea. That wasn't my idea. That was your idea.
No, you said
blame it on me.
No, you said you want to. No, you said you want to play the guitar. I like you should break it. So no, that's great. Everybody, thank you so much for joining. Looks like we don't have any good questions, but I enjoyed Venkat, Deepak, Satya, Rijwan, Anil, and Mo. I mean, you keep calling him Bassam. Thank you for joining, Venkat, Ashirwad, Rohit, everybody. And if anybody I missed is, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's fun hanging out with people. You know the faces, you know their names. Sometimes there's no comments. You're like, okay, this is pretty boring here.
I'd also like, and I know I'm not going to talk for you, Mahesh, but everybody that's watching this, please feel free to reach out to us and ask us questions about coding or community or whatever. That's what we're here for.
Let's pass it to David, not to me, please. I will not answer your coding questions. Okay, I will not answer your coding question unless it's written on C# Corner forum.
But my point is, you have to reach out and participate, right?
Yes.
And all of us who are big into community are willing to bend over backwards to help you, but you have to ask.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And I don't really write too much code these days. So all the coding questions, David.
You can ask me. Yeah.
All right. With that said, Simon, thank you so much for hanging out. We can have a call a little later, and we can have 20 minutes after this, talk about the conference. But everybody, thank you so much. I enjoyed everybody. And if next Friday you have time, come back again next Friday. What we have topic, Simon, we have topic in mind? I think next Friday we are talking to the founder or the creator of .NET Nuke, and now it's a new project.
Yep.
We will share the secret there. It's all about Blazor and community and open source. So more will be open source. So next Friday we'll talk about open source.
Yeah.
World of open source and how if you want to get involved and benefits and other things. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Have a great